Hello model railroaders, welcome to Pack Rat Route and Scale Model Railroad. I'm Gary Corbin. Today is Friday 14th of February 2020, Valentine's Day. No, I don't get to sit around the house and work on my model railroad all day long. I'm going to take the wife out to lunch anyway, and maybe come home and work on my model railroad. But last couple days I've been working on doing some plastering. I know some of you guys say you should do your electrical first. I don't know. 6 of one, half dozen of another. Decal, decal. It's got to be done one way or the other, I know. But it's just one step closer. Get my vision down anyway, and then mess with the tedious stuff. But went ahead. I will go ahead and do all my plastering work, at least the majority of the larger stuff. Of course, I'll have some work to do down the yard and stuff a little bit, but not too much. That'll be basically ballasting. But and then I'm going to come back and paint it and put the ground foam and shrubbery and everything else. So the next few series of videos will cover that. I don't know however many it takes, but then I'll also be covering a new locomotive I'm receiving in a day or two. I'll be covering that. And oh, and I also ordered some laser printed equipment for the mine over here. Also, I got a haul truck coming and a large excavator. So those will be reviewed and painted and things like that and placed in the mine. That'll get me to go on the mine here also. That'll be after I get this scenery done. I'm just going to do the mainline part and the plastering, and eventually get around to ballasting and the ground foam, like I said. But also I'm going to work on this area some more. Just keep moving around, keep busy. Just as the ideas come in my head, work it out. So we'll enjoy this video of what I've got started on the plastering so far. Thanks for watching, you guys. Okay guys, I got everything covered with red rosin paper and masking tape. The rosin paper it's 10 mil thick. There's 167 feet in a roll, and it only costs about $14. I think when I bought the stuff years ago, I think I only paid like $8 for it or something, but I'm sure you can find it on sale for about $10 or something. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off from the tunnel portals here, and I'm going to go around and I'm going to start laying some plaster. I'm going to, I've got some here's that red rosin paper stuff here. I like it. You can even dip it in plaster and use it for plastering. It's nice thick stuff, and it's cheap. But what I'm going to do is I've got some bags of scraps that I've saved. This is the 1/4-inch bag, and then I've got some bag of 1/2-inch foam bits and just all kinds of just bits, more or less. I saved some of this last stuff when I was working around here for this project, but you know, some of them are bigger and stuff. Well, if I like a bit like this, I'll cut it down and stick it in here, and I'll work my way around making a skeleton out of it. And when I'm done with that, I've got this Co-band. It was what they used to wrap my arm with after dialysis. They would put gauze on it and wrap my arm with this because I'm allergic to the Band-Aids. So I'm going to try. It's stretchy. You've seen me kind of demonstrate this stuff before. But it's kind of stretchy. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and hot glue this on and then plaster over that. I'm going to use regular hard plaster for my initial coat, so it gives it a good strength. And then after that, I've got I'll use joint compound, drywall joint compound to come over and give it some more texture and things like that. And up to the cutter here, there's some wires there. That's for this switch. I'm going to end up, I'm going to put a little tube in that. Is eventually down the road, possibly, I'm going to put some signal devices in, and I'll need another place to run some wires, make it convenient. I'll do that along over on most of my turnouts. I'll put a tube down them if it's necessary. And I'm just going to hot glue it. It's smoking hot too. If you leave this on the phone, that tip will melt right through it. I've got a bunch of different glue sticks and stuff. I've got a nice sized bag of this Coban, different rolls. So that should be plenty to get me down through there. And I got some other gauze and of course some burlap. It's about getting down to about the last of my burlap here, so we'll might end up using some of this on there in spots too, some of this rosin paper. So, well, that's the project for now. I'm going to do it in sections up to the cutter here, and I'm going to get this all plastered in, and I'm going to move down to the next spot and do probably just up to that next bend. So there's a nice a 4-foot area that I'll do after this one, and I'm just going to continue all the way around. Alright, I got a couple pieces of foam out here, some bits, and we'll start cutting those and piecing them in. Right here. Okay, here it is next morning. I've got it soaking right now. I'm going to do some plaster work. I think this is going to turn out pretty nice. It's easy, cheap. Alright, we've all seen people make up plaster before, just using straight plaster of Paris. It's a little thin, not much, but I'm going to brush it on. See how that does. I just want to get a nice hard coat of plaster on here. Give it so it's nice and firm. And from there I can build up the terrain features with some joint compound. But this will start getting it hard. And then also soaking the bandages. The plaster will absorb into the cloth a little better, give it a little bit more firmness, because right now, like you see, it's kind of spongy. That's the elasticity in the bandage, in the Coban. So I figure if I paint this on there, it'll stiffen it up. It'll probably take a couple layers and some globages, but eventually I think the terrain will turn out pretty nice up here. It's going to be grass covered on this side with some trees and bushes. All right, here we go. This has got some plaster on it. It's been able to sit overnight. This section here has got one coat of plaster on it, and that went on pretty thin. You can still see the ridges in the co-band, and there are still some spongy spots in this because it is elastic bandage. Like that spot right there is really soft. But down here, from the turnout here around, I put 2 coats of plaster on that, and it's turned out pretty hard. There are, if you press really hard, you can get it to crack in spots that are in between the supports, of course. But I think all in all, I mean, you're not going to get up here and dance a jig on this stuff. You just want it to be somewhat firm. I'll probably end up putting on maybe some spots of some joint compound, but I think I'll just end up painting this and putting ground foam on it and shrubbery and trees, and should be good. So I'll put a second layer of plaster on this section down here. This section here I'll just probably hit with some joint compound, and then I'm going to continue on around with this area here. Try not to make you nauseous there. Sorry guys, got a little quick. But I'm going to go ahead and do a bunch of plastering. Over here I haven't decided on if I want to put them bridges in there or just make a viaduct. Viaduct is simpler, so I don't know. I have to make a viaduct, blah blah blah.